are not, because we keep training our officers every year, and we have good officers. For the sake of argument, we do have good officers.
Very good.
Out there.
Yeah.
But could it be that someone or our system has chosen to weaponize and politicize? Because by and large, instances where we have complaints are highly related to political activities. So you realize the political players, in one way or the other, find a way, either because they're the appointing authority or they're the paying, because they're not the hiring authority. The hiring authority is the constitution. And even the paying authority is the Kenyan through our taxes.
Absolutely.
Yes. But could it be that some people have found it fit to weaponize, to politicize the police service, generally speaking? And if that is the case, that we're able to see it that way, how do we start having this separation of powers now? Because we've had a problem for far too long, and we cannot allow it to continue the way it is. We must demand and be part of the change that we want. How do we begin enforcing the separation of powers where you politicians, you the clergy, you the citizen, and you the police, everybody assumes their mandate and execute it accordingly, in hope that we'll bear now institutional responsibility and individual responsibility? How do we begin to enforce that from where you stand, from the interventions that you're offering, from the research and data you have gathered? What are our entry points into beginning to realize the separation of powers?
I couldn't have said it better, that we all have a duty and responsibility to ensure that the separation of power. And as we discuss the separation of power, let me borrow your words about weaponization of the service. That is what has happened. Completely weaponized, if we want to pass a message to Kenyans, we use the police service. If we want to push somebody into an elective position, we use the service. We saw it in Olkalau, we've seen it. It's, every Kenyan knows what is happening. So one of the things that I want to push for and I think brings the citizen forward is playing an active role in monitoring, tracking, and reporting. We have community policing committees which are not functional everywhere, but it is a structure that is available. One of the things citizens can do, and we have very active human rights defenders on the ground who are under threat all the time, including civil society organizations like ours, under the threat, intimidation all the time. However, citizens can actually, and this is a time to wake up and track, report, so that we can have an analysis of stations, for example, that are notorious for use of excessive force, notorious for deaths in detention within the holding cells, that are notorious for human rights abuses. So it starts there. We report, we track, we monitor, we are actively engaged. We don't keep quiet. We use social media, we use all the spaces, because we know that in as much as the executive does not listen